Welcome to CODAP, a free data analysis software. From the homepage, we can launch a CODAP workspace using the Launch CODAP button. Once we open a workspace, we can see Open Document or Browse Examples or Create a New Document. When we choose the first button, we see Example Documents. These are ready-to-use data exploration activities provided by CODAP. We can also see Google Drive as an option or a local file where we can drag and drop a file into the CODAP workspace. It is important to note that when you are uploading your own file, the file must be a CODAP file, a JSON file, a CSV file, or a text file. For now, we will open the roller coaster data provided by CODAP. When we open our workspace, we can see that we have a table, 2 empty graphs, and a text box with questions. In CODAP, we are able to drag and drop each window as well as resize. Here's my table, a sample of US roller coasters across years. There are many attributes in this table, such as park, top speed, max height, drop, length, duration, type, design, and other things. From this table, we can add an attribute using this plus button. We can also add another attribute over here. And using this minus button, we can collapse all groups or we can expand all groups. We are really in control of what the data looks like. For now, let's look at the Goliath roller coaster. When I highlight a data point, it automatically becomes highlighted in the graph as well. So now I can see that this blue point is the Goliath. If I highlight the Medusa, it is also highlighted in each graph it is in. Let's go back to the Goliath. I only want to focus on the Goliath for now. In CODAP, we can hide or show different cases of data. If I want to set aside only the Goliath, so I want to take the Goliath away, I will choose this. But if I want to set aside everything else, I can choose to set aside unselected cases. Now the only data point on my graph should be the coaster Goliath. If I want to bring everything back, I'm going to click this icon again and restore 156 set aside cases. In CODAP, we have graphs as well. These graphs come blank. If I wanted to add a new graph, I would select the Make a Graph button in the top left-hand corner. Now I have 3 different graphs. Since I'm able to resize and make my workspace what I want it to look like, when I continuously drag down, the CODAP workspace automatically expands and gives me more room to organize the workspace how I would like it. For now, I'm going to show you how to add an attribute to an axis. So I'm going to select max height. So to assign an attribute, we can click here and I can say duration. So I want to know how long this roller coaster ride is. I can also see if this has a relationship with the type of roller coaster it is. So another way to assign an attribute is to click an attribute, drag it down to your graph, and allow it to snap onto the axes. So now I can see the duration and each type of roller coaster. We can get rid of graphs simply by closing this component, and now I can resize again. Now I want to look at which roller coaster is the fastest. I'm going to select top speed and I'm going to drag it down to this x-axis. I'm going to get rid of this graph as well. When we resize our graph, we can see that the data can spread out a little bit more. So now I know that I am looking for the fastest roller coaster. I'm going to look for the value that is the highest. Once I select this, I can see that the top speed is 120 miles per hour and the coaster is the top thrill dragster. When I click on this data point in my graph, it automatically highlights it in the table as well. Now that I know the top speed, I would like to know the average speed. I can click this ruler icon and it allows me to measure. I can see the count and I can see that there are 146 cases. I can also see the mean. This appears as a blue line. I can hover over the mean and see that it is 58.6 miles per hour. Instead of hovering, I can also show measure labels. This will continuously show our measure label. With CODAP, there comes so much customization. You can change the point size, the color. We can also change the background. Within data, there are many different menus for each graph. We can also create a box plot, and this will show us our median, our lower, and our upper. Within CODAP, I can zoom in on each graph by double clicking on a certain point. If I wanted to go back, I can simply click the Rescale button, and it will bring my data back and put everything back in its place. Since we can create such dynamic graphs in CODAP, we would want to save them. We can save the image as a PNG file by simply clicking this camera button and exporting as a PNG file. I can save it to Google Drive, or I can download it to my machine using the local file option. When I download this file, it is going to be an image of this graph. So now that we have learned about the basics of CODAP, we're going to continue to explore this roller coaster data.